Hello, magical people. Welcome back to the As Above, So Below show here on Beyond Mystic. My name is Meg Moonbeam, and I'm here with Ashala Yardley. How's it going, Ashala?
It's going really well, Meg. This is a bittersweet show for me because
Yeah.
it's always so lovely to join you and do our readings and our forecast together. And as many of you might know, this is the last one that Meg and I are going to do officially in this time slot, known as
hmm
the Above So Below show, as Above So Below show. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I
been such
definitely.
a delight, Meg, working with you. Really, truly.
Thank you, Ashala. And I feel the same way. I absolutely love doing the shows with you. And you've got, so much wisdom. And I love the way that you work. And you never know what can happen in the future, what might
Yes,
happen. So,
correct.
yeah, thank you everyone so much that's been supporting the show. And we're going to do some fun stuff, some different things in today's show, talk about our usual tarot and astrology and intuitive feelings about the current times, as well as do a little bit of a Q&A as well. So if you guys have any questions that you'd like to ask us, you can put those in the live chat and we will get to some of them. That's always fun, Ashala doing a Q&A.
It is fun. I love doing Q&As, and I don't get to do them often enough. So, yeah, it's super
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. So you can find our readings over at consultations.beyondmystic.net. You can check that out in the link in the description box below. And over at floralinfarm.ca, Alin has a end of summer sale happening, 30% off selected soaps with code BM30. And she makes beautiful natural soaps. You've smelled them, right, Ashala? We had some at the conference.
Yeah, they're incredible.
Yeah.
Really. They smell so good you could eat them.
Yeah, they
Some of
really
them.
do, and there's limited time only, that 30% off sale. So, yeah, Ashala, we are in, oh my goodness, eclipse season. We're now in the eclipse portal between two eclipses, one that we had on Sunday, full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, and our next one on September 21st, new moon solar eclipse in Virgo. So we're in the energy of that. We're going to unpack that a bit. And you also just brought up, I didn't even realize this until we went live, that we're in a 999 portal. Do you want to speak a little bit on that?
Yeah. Well, what I associate numerologically with the number 9 is that it's about the gathering together for the final steps of something.
hmm
So it is, I call it the synthesis. It's like when we are gathering everything together, the raw materials, things from the past, getting rid of certain things, bringing certain things forward into the new design. It's kind of like the architect number, where
Mm,
we are coming back to basics, back to square one, doing a bit of a redesign. And it also feels like it's just the step before burnout. It's just the step where we're just kind of hanging on a thread. So it has positive aspects to it. It's also it's just before you feel like you're hanging on a thread. And interestingly, I was adding it all up. So we're in a 9. It's the ninth day of the ninth month. The year adds up to a 9. You add it all together, it's 3 9s are 27, which you add together is a 9. So a lot of
Whoa.
energy. Yeah.
Okay, that is crazy also because I'm always paying attention to the numbers and the triple numbers. Do you pay attention to that too, Ashala?
Yeah, I do. I
Yeah.
definitely do. And I see the triple numbers as representing almost like a kind of blessing, like we're being gifted
hmm
um, some some support, because threes are a lot about energy, kind of synergizing and dynamic movement, creative flow, and so on. They're not a stagnant number. It's a very activated number. So I see three of a kind as being like that. It's kind of rolling along, rolling us along.
hmm
Yeah.
Very true. And I've been seeing a lot of 999s the past week, which That's not usually a triple number that I see that often. So I've been paying attention to that, like, what's up with all these 999s? And then we come on to do the show today, and you're talking about we're in a 999 portal, which feels like a full circle, feels like a
Mhm,
completion. Interesting, you're saying the moment before the burnout or something burning out as well.
mhm. Yeah. So we want to be very, I want to say, in a way, like strong spiritually through all
Mm,
this nine energy. I was tuning in with it earlier today and getting that it really is like an eye of the needle. It's very,
wow.
we want to be very um, kind of present as we go through this.
I love that. Would you maybe like to do a card pull, Ashala, on what this 999 portal has to offer to us? What does the universe maybe want us to know about it?
Absolutely. I'd love to do that. I mean, it's just so raucous on the global stage right now, what's happening in
Yeah.
the Middle East. And um, yeah, that feeling, the other thing that I associate like the number nine, specifically with people who have a birth number nine, is
Mm,
that they are leaders and role models. So it's a real time for us to guide by example and focus on that, focus on being a role model, a leader through these challenging times.
right.
Okay, let's see what the cards want to say. Okay, so we're looking at the Five of Cups, which is showing up in the recent past. One way of reading the three card spread is the recent past, the present, and the potential future. And another way of reading it is the where we are, where we're going, and how we get there. I'm going to read it both ways. So either way, this is recent past or where we are right now. And that is, there's a bit of a pity party going on here. And we have a lot to feel sad about, but we are also, um, we're about to turn the corner in terms of, we've talked about that this is this year, the 9 year, 2025. Then 2026 is a 10 year, which actually reboots
Mm,
a new cycle and it gets into, the Chinese year, the fire horse, and so on. So we're coming to that, I think, critical turning point, and maybe it's in between. I was getting a lot earlier today as well about the next 2 months, the next two moon cycles. So in between these eclipses, it's time to turn around and start looking towards the future. So we're coming to the end of that nine, snake shedding its skin. Over the next couple of months, it finishes and we are about to turn the corner. So
wow.
it feels important not to get stuck in, oh, like, remember that statement. I can't remember who said this. It's one of the spiritual teachers from many years ago. And they said, we're actually living in the reality of about 2 months ago. So we're still like 3D catches up slower. I think it's moving a lot faster now, but
Mhm,
we're living in the energy expression outwardly of where we were a while back, like maybe a couple of moon cycles ago. So it's like we want to not base our perception of what's real on what's around us right now. We want to
mhm,
look forward. Look at that. There's a two. I was talking about the moon between the moons. Like, I often see this as waiting for either a full moon or a half moon cycle. So I'd like to hear what you have to say about that when I'm done here. And
mhm,
then, um, yeah, hanging in there, really remembering. I'm getting a strong sense that we're meant to remember that what we see around us is already past,
mm,
and that we are. if we look to the past, if we're always looking back and going, oh, this is reality, we're missing that reality is already shifted.
Right.
So, and if you wait a couple of months, you're going to see what you were hoping for right now. That's kind of what I'm getting with this. How does it relate, Meg, with the next 2 months in astrology?
Hmm. Wow. Well, I think it makes a lot of sense that we've got a very powerful numerological portal like this. It's happening during an eclipse season. And it's making me think about how, this eclipse cycle where we've got eclipses that happened last year, this year, and next year in the signs of Pisces and Virgo, all three of the Pisces eclipses are full moon lunar eclipses about completion, letting go. And Pisces, I always hear spirit say it's the end of the line, it's the last sign. So we're having lunar eclipses, which are all about completion and letting go in Pisces, the last sign. It's a very 999 energy of release. I just pulled out, I went off screen for just a moment there to pull out a card deck that my friend Ilsa gifted me when we were on a sacred retreat last year that Jens and I were hosting. And it's a really cool deck, the Angel Number Oracle. This is a great one, all with triple numbers in it. I love it. And the 999 release,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Release.
It's a big release. Yeah, of cycles upon cycles. And
Mhm.
interesting, I did a reading for someone today, and there was deceased loved one on the other side that came through that was talking about loops, how we
Mhm.
can be in these loops and live our lives in these loops. And this loved one on the other side had been having a major issue where they were just in a loop and they never got out of this loop of this issue that they had. And they were bringing up how, we are here to step out of the loops of what's holding us back. What's that saying? Like madness or insanity is when you do the same thing over and over again.
And expect
Is that
and expect a different result.
expect the different results? Yeah, Murdoch is saying let that shit go.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it's a really good time to, like, as that spirit said on the other side, look at the loops that are coming up, right?
Mhm.
Look at what just isn't working. Like, what just,
Seventh pillar says Fruit Loops everywhere.
Fruit Loops are-
Right.
yeah.
So yeah. So
I'm so excited for this fire horse year also, like
yeah.
starting in February, right?
Yes. Yes. Starting in
Yeah.
early February. And I find even though there's a sense of urgency, like, come on, let's get on with this. We've been waiting around forever. I always really like this time of year, for one, because there is a
Mhm.
lot, like, it is release, but it's also the harvest. It's also like gathering, because the 9 is where you pull it all together. And
Mhm.
where we sort of gather in order to determine what to release. So we talked about, with the feng shui, that's the 9, the bagua with the 9 portions. There's a
Mm,
lot about pulling everything together so that you know what you're ready to let go of. Like,
yeah.
it's almost like doing a large inventory, right? It's like taking inventory of your life. So, um, and I'd like to feel that if we do this really well, we don't have
Mhm.
to go back and do it again,
Yeah.
you know?
What do you feel like, Ashala, are maybe some good uh, practices or methods of release at this time for people? And if there's friends out there that maybe think, oh, well, I have nothing to release right now, what are some ways that you like to tune into if we're maybe not seeing something clearly where there may be an issue going on? Like, do you have personal
Mhm.
practices that you like to do for reflection, really be able to look at your life objectively, and also just things in general for release work?
Yes, great point, Meg. I love to care about release in my physical form.
Mhm.
So, for example, we were talking about those patterns, right? Like the what Crystal and I were talking about earlier, I think she might have mentioned it on her show about the karma loops, where we go around and around and around the same cycle again, and we're like, why does this keep happening to me? How do I break out of this? And we were actually doing some research on what are good ways to kind of jumpstart yourself out of that. And it really is about shifting your state, doing something to dramatically shift. If you're going, your mind is going this way, your emotions are following, shift your state. And I like to do something physical. I like to get up and jump around, stomp. Maybe if I'm frustrated, I like to shake, shake it all out. There's all these great, like, kind of tapping things that you can do, tapping your shoulders on either side, kind of brain gym stuff. And sometimes I just shake, the way the dog shakes when it comes in from from being wet outside. It's like just this, get the energy shifted in my body. And then it just feels different, even for that moment. And then I decide I'm going to do something that is the antidote to whatever it is that I'm looping around, right? So we were talking a lot also about just random acts of kindness, or just little gestures of generosity to yourself or to someone else. Even just a small thing that takes you a few seconds or a minute or two to do, it shifts that, attachment and that cycle, and it changes your state. And it's the
Right.
beginning, to me, of release. Now, that's a Gemini style release. I know a Scorpio release is probably going to look quite different to that.
Yeah, going into a dark room,
Right?
lighting a candle,
I love
doing
it.
some shadow work. What I like to look at myself in the mirror. I like to get a mirror and look at myself in the mirror. And, a lot of the times when we look in the mirror, we're getting ready. For me, it's washing my face, it's brushing my teeth, it's putting on makeup, doing my hair. But when we look in a mirror to just look at yourself, that's very different, right? And I find for me personally, that might be my Scorpio coming out because it's kind of intense. Because when you look at yourself in the eyes, it gets really intense and you
Mhm.
can see things that, like, you're seeing yourself from that outside perspective, if you will. I don't know. I find that really helpful personally. Mirror
Beautiful.
work.
And in a way, like, those work really well in tandem, right?
Mhm.
Like doing deep process, whether it's deep, like something like scrying,
Yeah.
mirror gazing. And scrying, by the way, if you don't know, is where you're looking at something like a crystal, something, even you can scry with the clouds, you can scry even with tarot cards. You can look at the
Yeah.
imagery and just be drawn to something on the image and let that kind of give you a message. And all of those deep kind of practices, it's like, it's beautiful to contrast something like that with then movement or sound, or you know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
they pair well together.
Yeah, definitely. And I love here, Make the Change says, I do mirror work meditation all the time. My face changes. I've definitely had that before. And Tracy Ann Pro says, can't lie to yourself. And that's one of the things you guys might think I'm crazy for saying this, but sometimes if I'm really processing something big, I'll talk to myself in the mirror about whatever is going on. And you hear yourself, like, it can actually bring a lot of clarity to see yourself talking about something.
Wow, that is incredible. What a great practice, Meg.
Mhm.
Yeah. How does it
Sometimes it's
feel?
intense.
How does it feel when you, like, are you able to kind of care about yourself and be kind to yourself, or is it
Yeah, it can definitely help you to be totally more self-loving to yourself, like, actually seeing yourself, saying positive affirmations, reflecting yourself back to yourself. So I find it's actually really healing, and it can be quite emotional to do that, for
wow.
sure. Yeah,
Beautiful.
so that's something I love to do, and then there's also my Scorpio ways of screaming and punching a pillow and stuff, of releasing energy. The fire, I love fires too. Burning
Yeah,
roots in the fire,
fire. Fires is
staring at the fire.
I actually have a confession to make. I really have decided we're setting up an outdoor bonfire at our home this winter, and I'm intending to purge many, many, many things. Like, yeah, I'm really deciding because I'm just getting the chills even as I say it. Like, I feel there's something about the end. We've cut like this is the end of this, by the end of January, the end of the wood snake year, it's done. And then the fire horse, right? It's like, so maybe we have the whole fire horse year to burn up the things that we don't want to take them with us. And it's things like I'm looking at, my old yearbooks and stuff, and I'm like, oh, like I actually want to sit with my kids and be like, okay, seriously, let's look at this stuff. You probably, if I was gone, you'd probably be ditching that right pronto, right? So let's have a look, have a laugh, and look at mom in her bell bottoms, and then throw it on the fire. Be done with it, right? Like,
Wow.
because it's just these things that don't need to, like some things do, right? There's definitely some things that want to come with us, that
Mhm.
want to like remind us and hold energy. But it just feels like we've done a lot of holding on to stuff. And there's a lot of real dark, dense energy in a lot of our things. Like a lot of them were made post war. Like it's just, they've got all that yucky energy in them, you know?
So true. Yeah, they're holding the energy,
Hmm.
definitely.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, should we maybe do we wanna say anything else about 999, or should we maybe move on to some questions?
Yeah,
Q&A.
let's move on to some questions. I'm open to that.
Yeah. So if anybody has a question for Ashala, myself, both of us, put that in the comments and we'll have fun doing some Q&A. Oh, Tracy Ann Pro here says, "What can we do to help dissolve the negative energies and evil crap in the world, not just for ourselves?" So, for the collective.
Wow,
What do you
what a
think,
good
Ashala?
question. What a great question. That is amazing. Cool. Okay. I'm gonna shuffle here.
Yeah.
Tune in, everybody. Let's really think about this. Feel into it.
Mm.
Hmm. I'm reminded of did you ever read any of the Anastasia books, the Rainy Cedar series, Meg?
I haven't, no.
You've heard of them though.
I've heard of them, yeah.
Um, she describes a practice in there where she actually like transmutes evil energy from the planet and like releases it, like disperses it, almost dilutes it with her intention. And she lays on the ground and the grass turns, like it kills all the grass around her.
Whoa.
Yeah. Um, and so there's just like as I'm tuning in, I'm hearing something about diluting it. Um, and what are we diluting it with? I'm just curious. Like, let's have a look.
Mhm.
Like diluting it, transmuting it. Huh, same card, Seven of Wands. Um, well, it's interesting because in the question, we, not just for ourselves, the sevens are self cards. So in a
Mm.
way, it's saying we're 70% of the way doing it just for ourselves. Like that makes a huge difference. That's a huge contribution. Like we just don't know how important that is. Oh wow, yeah. Um, it's interesting. It's even the ability to sit with the painful part of it. Oh, look at that. A 7 and a 6 of wands on either side of this 3 of swords. It's like being able to sit with the heartbreak, but not attach too much to it. Like, this too shall pass. This
Mhm.
too shall pass. There's something about, like, affirming that this too shall pass. It's not, but you can't bypass it, right? You want to say this too shall pass, but we don't bypass it. So we have to sit with it. Isn't that interesting too? I said the 70% and then here's the 30%. So if you can just sit with it, it dilutes it. It's like what I remember from reading the Anastasia books is she wasn't trying to do anything. She was just feeling it. She was just letting it be, not taking it in, just feeling it and letting it move through her and out and letting the earth receive it. So, again, not to bypass, but to also say this will pass.
Mhm.
Very cool.
Wow, that is very cool. And I would say too, Tracy, and to your, question that, and it is something said so much that, be the change you wanna see in the world, but that is the most important thing. That is the most important thing in my personal feeling, and I have chills as I say that, like, it's not about being out there and being famous and doing something crazy and being super successful at helping the world out in the world. It's you yourself, loving yourself, treating yourself with love, being good to the people in your personal life, living with a purpose that resonates with you, living a joyful life. That's what dissolves the negative energies and the evil because lower astral energies feed off of fear, anxiety, anger, conflict, all these things, which we have those emotions and feelings naturally, but to all the time be in that state, it literally feeds these lower astral energies that have been in control on the planet. So doing things that bring you into joy as much as possible, not being spiritual bypassing, but living a intentionally positive life, I think, is what we can do to help dissolve the negative energies, first and
That
foremost.
I love that, and that just feels very much like these 2 cards, be the change,
Yeah.
self card and the victory card. Like,
Mhm.
by doing your self-work. And it's interesting, I really keep feeling there's something about this ability to we notice, for example, and I don't know about you, Meg, but I certainly have gotten so much better at this, after being a truther for a while, is that in
Yeah.
the beginning, it's so hard to think about all this horrible stuff. Like, it makes you angry, it makes you afraid, it makes you so terribly sad, you know? And it's not that it gets easy to think about it, but it gets easy to kind of digest it and metabolize it and not let it destroy your version of reality. It's like, this can be true, but this is also true.
Yeah.
Like, and this is bigger, this is victorious over this. So this, 7 of wands valor, 6 of wands victory is victorious over the heartbreak and the heartache. And they're really bringing my attention today to saying what we see has already passed. It's
Mm.
already over. What we're perceiving is already from the it's kind of like when you look up and see a star and you go, wow, look at that star, it's sparkling so bright tonight, and it's like, yeah, that was 20,000 years ago.
Right.
So what we're seeing is already over. So instead of us being attached to what we're seeing, we want to see it because we have to feel, we can't just, like you say, bypass it. There's some reason why we're seeing it, and that gets into the Ho'oponopono prayer, where you say, if I see it, if I hear it, if it's in my reality, I'm meant to hold space for that, not shy away from it, but also not let it destroy me. And by holding that line and being victorious in not letting it destroy you or bypassing it, that is warriorship right there.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. Thank you, Tracy Ann, for the question. Crypto Blonde asks, we're going in a different direction. When is the Canadian Prime Minister leaving?
Yeah, let's look
Okay.
at that.
Very
Before we look at that, I just want
Yeah.
to show, you might want to speak about this, Meg. I just noticed a comment up here
Mhm.
around green tourmaline transmutes negative energy, black dissipates
Tourmaline.
negative. Yeah, you might want to talk about the tourmaline while I'm shuffling here.
Interesting. Yeah, another you says green tourmaline transmutes negative energy. Black tourmaline schroll dissipates negative energy. I have a green earring and a chunk of schroll on the windowsill. Yeah, I tourmaline is very powerful, you guys, because tourmaline, and Sunny is way better at describing this than me. But tourmaline, based on its actual scientific, like what it's made of, actually physically connects us to the electromagnetic field of the earth. So when we have tourmaline around us, not only is it high vibration, protective, has different attributes depending on the color, it literally deepens our connection to the earth even stronger because of what it's made out of. So I love tourmaline so much, and I feel like that's a really good grounder crystal for us light workers at this time. And very powerful to help us work through if there's any negative energies or blocks we're working through. Very cool.
All right. When is the Prime Minister leaving the building?
Leaving the building. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Mhm. So our current Prime Minister, what do we need to know? I'm going to do a focused answer question here. What do we need to know about how much longer we have to be in this type of locked in, strange karmic thing?
Mhm.
Okay, so here's us waiting. Two of swords. Interesting. There's that between the two moon cycles, the two eclipses, maybe. So, oh wow. Okay, so suddenly, very suddenly, this happens. Is it in the next 2 months, 10 weeks, or is it in the next 2 weeks, 10 days?
Oh my
Something
goodness.
quite sudden happens. Look at that. There's the Hermit. This feels to me like it's the work done in the background. The Hermit is like sort of behind the scenes in a way, or above it all. So there's something else. Like again, I just feel like this prime minister is a placeholder or something. Like it's just a cardboard cutout almost.
Mhm.
Yeah, look at that. Oh wow, justice. So
Wow.
again, I get a sense of either 2 weeks possibly, but definitely within the next 2 months, I feel like we're going to see, right? That would be the month of October. So between September and the end of October, maybe. Yeah, look at that. I feel it's more like a couple of months, 8 weeks.
Wow.
Because there's something has to be complete so that we can reset. And I know that's a triggered word, right? I don't like that word, but like restart or yeah, there's something even about taking everything in a new direction.
Right.
This feels to me very much about the law, the legal, like admiralty law, common law, like it has to do with that. And this is where we're going to start seeing evidence that that system is shifting. Because look at
Mm.
that. I just am noticing, I mean, you see the funniest little things when you're a reader, right? And I'm noticing 1 foot on land and 1 foot in the water. Do you see that?
Mhm.
And justice, legal systems, one water-based, one land-based.
Wow.
So this is about shifting to common law, shifting out of maritime law, something. It has something to do with law.
Whoa. Okay, very, very interesting, and I wanna bring up when it comes to the astrology, and let me fix this here so you guys can actually see it better. There we go. Um, the eclipse that we just had a few days ago on Sunday, Pisces eclipse, 15 degrees of Pisces, so the moon is a little bit off because I can't remember the exact time. It just brought up a transit chart for Canada for the eclipse. Supplemental question I want to ask you, Ashala, having to do with this. This Pisces eclipse was almost exactly conjunct Canada's south node in Pisces in the 12th house of Pisces.
Wow.
So Canada for the next 6-month period, because lunar eclipses have an effect for the whole next 6-month period, is under the influence of this eclipse on its south node in Pisces in the 12th house of Pisces. That is
Explain.
really
I mean, I kind of get, I know what a south node is.
yeah.
I know what the Pisces, the 12th house.
Mhm.
Can you explain to us your
So
interpretation of how that relates to this?
so to me, that's a huge karmic release because the south node is karma and release and letting go and the past. Pisces is past lives, karma, things that's been hidden, prisons, the pharmaceutical industry, behind the scenes, lies and illusions. So I think it's going to be really weird for the next 6 months for Canada. But I think there's a huge release going on. And at the same time, we're under the influence of the current solar return chart of Canada, where there's beautiful aspects. Like the current birthday chart of Canada is really good. It's indicating something very positive is going to come up in the next year.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing here.
But just looking at that, it is kind of scary in a way, to be honest, because it's such a strong Pisces influence on the south node, which could be like lies, illusions, brainwashing, confusion, mental health issues, but also as an astrologer, I know the other influences going on with the solar return, other things. So I feel like it's not just bad or scary. It's a necessary cleansing out, very deep cleansing out.
So I'm just curious, Meg, because when you're
Yeah.
saying this, I'm wondering, does that mean that we could be like this is the last go in to like my sense is it's already a done deal, but we want to be able to reveal, obviously, we talk about this all the time. We want to be able to reveal what's been going on, but it almost feels like what I've been seeing, what this looks like is the revealing might happen over a longer period of time. Let's just say, hypothetically, we get obviously shifted onto the new system where things like natural law, common law, all of these things are coming out in the public sphere. We're seeing shifting out of old systems of governance, of economics. We're seeing like all these positive new directional changes happening in the next year or two. And the shift, when the moment arises, it happens, we see it. But sleepers may not even see the change. It might just be like, oh, whatever, this prime minister's gone and there's a talk about blah, 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 right? But we're going to see over the next decade or two, gradually, all of this information will come out. So my sense is it's not the information that comes out and then we see the change. The change happens and then we learn. It becomes common knowledge over a period of time, right? Do you see what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah.
And do you feel like with these charts, Meg, that solar return chart, um, actually, or the how you were describing it, it gives enough blessing to minimize all of this challenging aspect?
I do think so. I do think it eases it and does bring blessings, and that lunar eclipse in Pisces actually had very beautiful aspects. So I'm happy about that. At the same time, my realistic astrologer hat is going, that's a whole lot of Pisces at the same time. So what would you maybe want to do another poll, or can you see with what you just got there? Is there anything else that we need to know about that for Canadians or fellow Canadians or anyone that cares about Canada? Like, is there anything else we need to know about the fact that that eclipse we just had was almost exactly conjunct the south node of Canada in Pisces in the 12th
Yeah,
house? That
let's
is intense.
that is intense. Let's look at that. Um, we're I was going to say a funny little country, actually, aren't we? Like, it feels, I made that analogy about poking the bear during, during the convoy,
Mhm.
because it's like it takes a lot to get Canada worked up, but
Yeah.
once we do, it's kind of like it's pretty hardcore. I mean, it's just
Right.
there's so much endurance. We are definitely a people of endurance, right? I mean, it's just the
Mhm.
cold north. Like, we're used to a degree of endurance and hardship. I don't know. I just was feeling that, it was somehow relating to it. Okay,
Right.
so this conjunct. Look at this. This conjunct.
Ooh.
Oh, wow. Okay, so this is, I think the high road is available here, Meg. Look at
Yay.
this. It's like there's something around the timing and enough. I'm wondering if there's even some other layers of alchemy, because what I'm getting is there's the astrology and then there's the hidden birthday.
Right.
There's other dates that are relevant that we don't know,
That's true.
and they're both relevant, and it's actually a great window of opportunity. Look at this. Two of Cups. This is like harmonizing the energy, alchemizing in a positive way. And Two of Wands, that gives us a whole new vantage point of who our identity. Has to
Mhm.
do with our identity and our place in the world. You see how he's holding the world in his hand?
Yeah.
So it's like it gives us a greater vision because he stands up high to be able to see the whole landscape.
Mhm.
And we see a much bigger vision of ourselves. So that looks super encouraging.
Yay, that makes me so happy to hear.
Mhm.
Yay.
Mm.
And, we've been through so much, and it feels like a lot of the European countries right now, like something's about to kick off, like possible full-blown revolutions are about to kick off, it feels like in the UK, other countries. So also when we go into that fire horse energy, that's going to be all bets are off moving forward.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Mhm.
Um, it's interesting. I've been doing cards on so much of it, and it's astonishing. Like, and I'm also doing a lot of research on historically what happened between World War I and World War II. And
Right.
you see so many similarities between, like, events and um, strategic maneuvers and stuff like that. You see similarities, but huge differences as well. It's
Mhm.
fascinating. It's like we're going our, it's like when they say when you evolve, you get back around that same part of the wheel of evolution, and it's
Mhm.
similar but different because you're further ahead now. That's what
Yeah,
it feels like. It feels like we're not gonna make those exact same mistakes again, but we're definitely doing a similar route of, like, these things are cycles. They're
yeah,
cyclical, and we're in a similar cycle.
for sure. Everything is a cycle.
Yeah,
Kate Allen says, "Can you please do a poll on Australia and the
of
Commonwealth countries?"
of course, definitely.
That's a good question.
Mhm. I'll specifically focus on Australia because I don't wanna get too, um, yeah,
Yeah.
too diluted in different things. I think it's going to be different
Mhm.
in each place. Mm, mhm. Okay, Australia. Huh. Okay, so not at the same place as Canada right now. Um, like, I feel like in some ways interesting that this card was at the beginning of what we are
Mm,
looking at with Canada. So it could be 3 or 4 months behind where we are,
okay.
is what I'm feeling. And there's something that has to go we have to go back to some documents that I hear, like, some kind of treaty documents or something. There's something in the, like, documents around the if it's constitutional and it has to do with ownership of land and the queen and all that kind of stuff. And there's
Mhm.
something about there's going to be more, like, exposure around that. It's interesting, like, we had the Canada the Illusion movie. I feel like there's
Right.
something coming out soon where Australia is going to learn something about the formation of their country, and
Wow.
it's going to be more known to the general public, and there's going to be a lot of inquiry into that. So,
Mhm.
um yeah, interesting. There is also that a kind of a legal feeling, and it has to do with, land, treaties, sovereignty, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Super interesting. Wow, I'm excited for the Commonwealth countries and what's gonna be coming up.
Yeah, and Australia will, there's people already really in place that are bringing this information forward. So
Mhm.
Australia will be known for having done deep research on this and having it talked about in public a lot.
Right.
Like, Canada feels like it's just kinda slide into this new system, and it'll take a while for Canadians to learn what really happened. But Australia feels like it's going to start with people, like, asking a lot of questions.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So cool. I love that.
Timing.
Well,
Is there
Australia,
time
we're with you.
She's saying, "Is there timing on that?"
Ooh.
Well, interesting, we've got that swift moving again, so this next 8 weeks, um, 4 months, so somewhere between 2 and 4 months, I feel like this information is going to be coming out in a sort of a public, exposure of land, treaties and sovereignty and all that kinda stuff, and then there will be a lot of energy. It could actually take a few months, but I think it's really gonna get going in the next 3 or 4, and then by next summer, this could be, yeah, it's interesting. We've got the King of Cups, uh, coming forward. Well, it's curious how Australia is so, in a way, kind of isolate. It's like a giant island, right? I mean, it's sort of
Right.
it's a continent, but it's isolated in a sense, surrounded by all these oceans. So it's there's going to be a lot of talk about maritime law. Again, we get
Wow.
something to do with law and maritime law. Mhm.
So interesting.
Yeah, is Australia an unceded territory too? Uh, I I believe so. I mean, that's kind of what I'm seeing here. So look into that, Australia.
For sure.
Mhm.
Well, Ashala, we're coming to the end of the show here. Is there anything else we wanna bring up before we finish today?
No, I feel like I wanted to, and I just remembered a minute ago that I did want to look at something with you, Meg, because you and I
Okay.
covered RFK Jr. last week, and
Yeah.
that remember we were talking about the press conference, and we were talking about is it going to launch on that first eclipse or the second one? And
Mhm.
was that it? Was that the press conference that happened like a week ago?
No,
No.
no. So he's gonna be doing a press conference solely on what is the cause of the autism
Yeah.
epidemic, and we haven't
So
had that yet.
I think I'd like to look at that just quickly and
Yes.
see when is that gonna be, because you felt it was gonna be around the second one,
Right.
and probably you're right. Obviously, it wasn't around the
We'll
first
see.
one. Um, so I just wanna see what we need to know about that. It was so hard to watch that. Did
Yeah.
you see it, Meg?
Wait, oh, you're talking about the hearing.
Yeah,
I only saw little clips, I haven't seen a lot of it yet. I find that stuff really hard to watch. Those
yeah,
people coming at him that are all paid by the pharmaceutical companies, like, it
yeah,
makes no
it's
sense.
just so horrible, and but interesting that oh, wow. Wow. Interesting. Okay. Um, yeah, this feels like he got through that actually
Mhm.
better than it appears. And what him sitting on the hot seat and getting roasted like that was in a way, and then coming back and coming at it again is
Yeah.
really going to open up for the people in natural medicine to have a voice. People are going to step. That's what I was feeling before. There's going to be this like,
Mhm.
okay, there's no reason to hold back now. He's not backing down, right? So even though he like, what are they going to do, right? He's got the
Yeah,
power. He's in the position of power.
exactly.
So this is, and he's not. He stood his ground. So yeah, it feels as though there's going to be a new direction taken here. And when is that? Yeah, it like so the next eclipse is in 10 days, something like that.
Yep. Mhm.
Something between a week and 10 days.
Wow.
Mhm.
Oh my god, it's gonna be intense, Ashala. It's gonna be really intense.
Well, we always feel like it is, and somehow things manage to like I think it's intense for us because we know the backstory.
Mhm.
Right? Yeah. But it's let's just say it's potent because I this is gaining momentum now. And it's just brought forward enough doubt that it's going to continue. It's almost like he needed to plant that doubt and then it needed to like percolate for this time and then start up again. So, yeah. Will you tell me, Meg, when is that other eclipse? Just
Yeah,
remind me.
so that's September 21st.
Okay, so actually on the equinox.
The right before the equinox. Yep, pretty much the equinox.
Wow.
It's gonna be so powerful. I'm
So
so excited.
yeah, me too.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us, and it is bittersweet. It is sad to be, at this time bringing the As Above, So Below show, to a close for now,
Mhm.
and we never know what may come in the future, what the future has in store. We live in very interesting times. So, Ashala, I love doing this show with you, and I've had an absolute blast. So, thank you
Me
for
too,
doing it with me.
Meg. Me too. And Meg and I have committed to bringing each other on each other's shows, so we can look forward to some of that in the future. And you're all going to be seeing a lot of me in the next couple of weeks while Janine's away because I'm doing all these Beyond the News shows with Jean Claude, and Crystal's doing, I think, one or two of them as well. So, anyway, you're going to be seeing our faces, and I'm so glad, Mick, that you're able to have some time to do all this important. You do so much for our community, and
Mhm.
yeah, it needs to be balanced. So I'm really glad you're taking this time to do what
Thank
you
you,
need to do.
Ashala. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Aw, it's
thank
my
you to
favorite
everyone.
show.
Aw. Aw, Lindy.
Yeah,
Well, you will see us in other ways for now.
definitely. Definitely.
Yes. Yes. And again, you can go support floralinfarm.ca. Alin has her end of summer sale currently happening where you can get 30% off her beautiful selected soaps with code BM30. And you can check out Ashal and I's personal readings over at consultations.beyondmystic. Did I say that? Consultations.beyondmystic.net. Sorry, it's 2 in the morning for me right now. So I'm messing up my words. We love you all so, so much, and we're sending lots of love your way. Happy 999, happy Eclipse portal. Yay. And we will see you all very soon. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye for now.
Bye.